Well, hello there. Good evening. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good whatever. Hey, it's Jason, Painfully Honest Tech. We are back again for another episode of the Painfully Honest Daily Show, in which we talk about all the news that is painfully honest to discuss. Khalil is in the house. Sound alerts is telling me that I have stuff messed up somewhere. I love Jeeps. Good. How's it going? It is April Fool's Day. It is people. Uh, the 1st of April, 2021, and that means there could be funny business going on, but I don't believe that there is. Before we get started, let's do a little housekeeping. I don't know. Basically 4 a.m. in Melbourne. Stephanie, what are you doing awake, or you just wake up? I don't know. Good for good for you. It's like 10 minutes to 10 minutes to friggin' noon here, and I still feel like I'm dragging. I had one of those things happen this morning where I woke up and I didn't have to take my daughter to school, so I was just kind of like hanging out, and I ended up falling back to sleep or asleep. And whenever that happens, I feel like completely like poleaxed by the by the. So anyway, yeah. So housekeeping wise, let's once again thanks the folks at Restream, the live streaming service with the mostest. If you're not familiar with Restream, they do multiple streams out to everywhere. Right now, I'm streaming to Twitch, to Facebook, two Facebook pages, to YouTube, two YouTube channels, and to Periscope, which is Twitter. So, wherever you are, whatever you're watching on, thank you for being here, and thank you to Restream for sponsoring these live streams that I'm doing and keeping the painfully honest boat afloat. You can use Restream. You don't have to have any kind of OBS or anything like that, although you can use that kind of stuff with it. But you can use Restream straight in the browser. Tell it what camera you want. Tell it what microphone you want. Hit go and get onto whatever platform you want. Restream, pretty awesome. Free. They have a free option, but they also have paid options where you get more features. So anyway, Restream has been keeping the painfully honest doors open. So I really appreciate it. And if you have live streaming that you want to do go to Restream, because as my friend Jermaine says, it's not just streaming, it's restreaming. Anyway. How's everybody doing this morning? So, Ollie, good morning to you, my friend, over here on the Twitter. I see. Ollie has edited a video for me last week. He did the Razor video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. He did a great job. Insane Clown Posse in the house. Wow. Juggalos. Yes. Brett, good morning. It is not Friday, Addie. Not at all. Not at all. How you guys liking the chat on the screen along with my face, or would you like more of my face? Which would you prefer? More of my face? No, I like the chat. So we'll keep going with the chat here. 17:52 in the UK. That means it is what, 2:00, almost 3:00 in the afternoon. Am I right? No, I'm wrong. I'm completely wrong. I can never do this. I can never do this. Insane Clown Posse, been watching for years. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Scott's in the house. Consolidated chats. Yes, consolidated chat is good. That's another thing that Restream does. It pulls all of the chat from all of the different places that you're broadcasting to into one space. So with little logos that tell you where they're coming from and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's really a pretty cool service. But we have news today. We have news, and is it news at this point? But it seems like it's becoming more news. It's becoming more news than it was before. Unfortunately, I guess we should just get right into it. Restream. I'm sorry. LG, our friends over at LG, the people who make the smartphones that we like that have headphone jacks, are it's now reported LG has decided to pull out of the smartphone business. I could not resist using part of that title in the title to this live stream because I am a child. I am a tiny little child. But yeah, so LG has decided to pull out of the smartphone business, according to this report. This report comes to us from Korea Times, who claims to have an inside source that has said that they're going to just ditch the whole thing. They tried to sell and they didn't sell. They considered a bunch of different stuff. And so, yeah, Korea Times source says LG has considered various options such as sales, split sales, pulling out of the smartphone market business, but recently decided to pull out. See, that's a split. Anyway, to pull out of the smartphone business, the outlet quoted the source as saying, the source further claimed that an official announcement will come on the company's board meeting on Monday, April 5th. Yes, the pullout game is strong. Well, I mean, they seem hesitant to pull out, but they are going to, in fact, announce that they're pulling out on April 5th, according to this source, which could be a janitor. We don't know. It could be anybody on the face of the planet. But it could be somebody who takes out, delivers coffee to LG. We don't know who the source was, and LG was contacted for a claim for some sort of quote, and they said they don't comment on speculation. So good for them. I guess this was not the first time that we've heard about this. I guess this Twitter account at Frontron, FRONTTRON, made the claim earlier this week, adding that employees could be reassigned to appliance division. The Twitter user also claimed that it would be unlikely that LG continues rolling out software updates after the shutdown. But we need to wait for the official news in this regard. A report out of Korea yesterday hinted at a shutdown, alleging that the sale discussions fell through. Now, the most important aspect of that piece of information is that it's unlikely that LG will continue to support the devices with software updates after the shutdown, which, that is that's a hard one, because there are a lot of people who really like their LG devices, who have invested in the company, and the company gave them a 2-year warranty when they bought the phone, and then if they just ditch the consumers, then I'm going to have a lot less respect for LG. I mean, Khalil is right up here. Khalil saying that at least they stuck true to their guns and never got rid of the headphone jack and that kind of thing, except for the LG Wing, which did ditch the headphone jack. But that was like they were trying to do a special thing, and I guess it just didn't fit. And as Ollie brings up here, there's this will be tough for people who use. Security updates are important for everyone, but for people who use LG phones in business, and security is a big deal, then it's going to be difficult to continue to use LG phones for business. So this is a tough one. I guess we've kind of known that this was in the offing for a while now. There was talk that we would see the LG V70 come to us sometime later this year, but then this talk started, and then there were announcements that they had stopped. They put it on indefinite hold. And so here we are with not very much good going on. My screen is blurry. It looks good over here. I don't know. Maybe I got all kinds of green signal bars. Well, now they went to, I don't know. I don't know what the signal bars mean. Hopefully everybody is seeing everything fine, hearing everything fine. Anyway, so what do you guys think about this? Are we going to have we talked about this some yesterday, the fact that without an LG in the market, without Motorola being a heavy player anymore, without a Nokia, without an HTC, without all of the companies that at one point or another were pretty hefty players in the smartphone market, at least in the Android game. Now we are here with the major players are Huawei and Xiaomi, which can't be part of at least the North American market. And then we have Samsung and Apple and Google, who Google has like kind of pulled their bacon out of the fire a little bit, starting with the A series phones, and I think they've gained some traction there. I don't know if people are going to really. I don't know if Google's going to ever be sort of one of the big three. We've got OnePlus, but I'm still not I'm still not sold on OnePlus, to be honest. Still not sold on OnePlus. Ollie's phone his business phone is an LG Wing, and it's paid for security updates as previous one was a Motorola, got hijacked, so now we're losing another companion to the ship. Yeah, I mean, if your business, if your business runs through your phone, you can't really put yourself in the position to be vulnerable in that way. And it surprises me. Like, I can't imagine. Well, LG's not done very well in the first place with doling out the security updates and the software updates. But the truth of the matter is, it can't be that hard to keep a skeleton crew of people on to at least continue to develop the software updates and get them out to the people who put faith in their company to buy their phones, But it's been a long time. It's been a long time since LG has really been able to claim much of the market. Now, the thing is, the U.S. market, the last time I looked, LG is the fourth largest player in the U.S. smartphone market. And the interesting thing about that is that they are they are selling their less expensive phones, right? They're selling their less expensive phones, and the less expensive phones are what's carrying them in the US to that number 4 spot. So you would think, okay, so they must be doing okay, but the truth of the matter is, we've heard that they've been like millions of dollars in the hole every single year for the past 4 or 5 years. And I guess when you're spending whatever they're spending to get these phones out to the market, I mean, there's a certain point when I guess you have to pull the plug. You give them credit for the fact that in the past couple of years they have tried to do different things that might compete for a different segment of the market. I think when they came out with the LG V60 and the G8 and the G8X with the dual screen, I think they saw that as a potential option for people who didn't want to spend $2,000 on a folding phone. Maybe those phones were not $1,000, not even $1,000. In fact, you could get the G8X for I think $800. So it was not that I think that was their plan, and maybe it was kind of their like last ditch effort. I don't know. I don't know, but ultimately, unfortunately, they didn't sell very many of those phones. I mean, how many of you actually went out and did the dual screen thing? Can I well, I can't get a show of hands. No, not many. I'm going to guess, right? Not many. So it's yeah. I just don't know what else to do about it. If I'm LG, I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted here. Just trying to check something. Yeah, I just want to make sure that that was live. Okay, that is live. So sorry, sorry, I had to check some things. I don't think that Restream has a poll option, although that is a good question. Um, and maybe something that would be like worth recommending to Restream. I was just thinking of something earlier today because like they have this logo thing. Because right now I have an overlay with Restream's logo in there, but then they also have this option for an overlay logo. But somebody mentioned when I was using this one of the first times that I was using Restream that this doesn't look like a logo. It looks like a little bug that says that it's pre-recorded. So maybe they need to put live in that logo because I'm having some overlays made for this whole thing, and I so I won't be able to use the Restream overlay. So I'd want to use the Restream logo because I want a brand for them and toot the Restream horn. Um, so I got I had the G8X. I really liked it, but then LG did send me the V60 with the dual screen, and I have to admit, as much as the dual screen was really cool, and there were some very compelling options for the dual screen. I ended up not having it on my phone more so than I had it um, on my phone. And a lot of that was because it made the phone really huge. It made the phone really huge and really heavy, and that for in a day-to-day situation that made it just not really all that viable, I guess. So I just ended up not really doing the dual screen thing as much as I thought I would. And there were so many cool features about the dual screen, like you could use the phone side of it could become a control pad of many different like layouts for gaming and that sort of thing. So you had like the whole second screen was your game, and then you didn't have to have your fingers all over it in order to play. I thought that was really cool. I thought that might have some legs, but it didn't. And so tell me, good people of the internet, why wouldn't people buy LG phones? Why is it that LG continued to put out good phones? Maybe they weren't as like fancy or snazzy or but they always had the right features. LG was the first manufacturer to put 3 cameras on a smartphone. Um, they innovated a lot in the smartphone space. They kept the headphone jack. Why is it that people would not buy LG phones? That's just really bizarre to me. Golf shaped Joel is back in the house. Good morning to you. I like it. In fact, well, I get your name now. I see your avatar is Joel from Last of Us. So yeah. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out if that was a 9 iron. Is it what was it that took out Joel? That's what I want to know. Um, 321 by tour. We're doing daily now. This is my fourth daily show. And yeah, so I'm gonna do this not daily because I'm gonna take the weekends off. I mean, the guy's got to mow his lawn and such every once in a while. Um, the lack of support. Okay, Jonathan says that the lack of support is one of the things that drove people off, that scared people off from LG. I know that in the videos that I've made, the comments in the videos that I've made, many people say, "Oh, well, they had the boot loop issue," and I understand, like, you spend a bunch of money on a phone and you don't want to have to deal with the boot loop issue. However, at the end of the day, that got fixed. But did LG like go out and shout it from the rooftops with their crack team of marketers? No, they did not. They did not. They did offer an extra year warranty. Yeah, as Brett's saying here, you know, they gave you that 2-year warranty. And I don't know that I don't think it's that they don't last very long so much as they had that issue with the boot loop hardware software thing, and that really stung in terms of their like custom their I guess profile in the consumer market. So I think the 2-year warranty thing was that they wanted to guarantee people that they were going to support the phones should anything happen. The phones would be supported full manufacturer's warranty for a long time, right? And I just don't think they ever got that message across. They never really got that message across that says, that never says like they never say any they never say anything. This is weird because I'm looking at the YouTube chat and I see that there are people on the YouTube channel chatting, but then I also see that none of those are coming in here. This is weird. Something weird is going on with Restream today, maybe. But I do see if you're on my regular Painfully Honest Tech YouTube channel, raise your hand. Just to let me know if it's coming through on the Restream side as well. So I know that I have to, watch two screens anyway, because 03, 0696 960. I don't know. Anyway, he says, "Am I thinking of taking the day off? So no podcast." No, I'm not. I'm not taking the day off. I'm taking the weekend off, but at least for the foreseeable future, I'm going to do this daily thing. Now, the plan has been that I would take some of the stuff that we do here, and then I would pop it over into regular videos and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Jonathan says that if you see an ad for a phone, you see Apple, you see Samsung, you go to the store and the display in front and center is Apple, Samsung. LG didn't push their ads. Yeah. I mean, I know from my Verizon store that I go into, I knew where the LG stuff was. I knew where the LG stuff was. And I would go back and I would see like the two phones that they had that were always like sort of off to the side of the back of the store, sort of banquette of phones, and they would be like, they were always beside that remember that little Palm phone, the tiny one? I don't know if it's still available, but it was like this, literally this big. That phone was that phone. They would be back there. What I heard from other people is that LG would often provide incentives to salespeople in carrier stores to sell their products, and I imagine that the whole pitch would be like, "Oh, Apple and Samsung, very expensive. Here's LG. They have all the same specs. They're less expensive. You can get a 2-for-1. You can get whatever." But then Apple and Samsung both started doing 2-for-1 deals on a pretty regular basis. So, yeah, Dom, you missed LG's. You missed, I guess, the end of LG's smartphone division, and I know it's not official. I know that we're hearing it from unnamed sources, and whenever you hear things from unnamed sources, that that isn't necessarily like rock solid, take it to the bank journalism. However, if Monday comes and LG does in fact make an announcement that they're leaving the smartphone business, then we're like kind of screwed, I guess. And I have the Wing, I have the Velvet, I have the V50. I actually sold my V60 just because I like the V50 better, and I wanted to keep only one of those. I kind of wish that I hadn't. I all of those phones are really good phones. And the Velvet seemed like an attractive phone in the sense that it was less expensive. It did have the dual screen option. It didn't have the 8 series Snapdragon chips, uh, but it did have like a great screen and all that kind of thing. And it was kind of sexy. I didn't know where they were going because it was like they were calling that the Velvet, and then they were going to call the V series something else. Um, yeah, and Khalil makes a good point here. The only people I know who had LGs had mid to low range options. Never saw anybody with any of the flagships, as far as I could tell. Um, yeah, I can't say that I really know anybody who has an LG phone either, except for me and tech nerds like one bag. Now, yeah, all the people who tout LG as a great manufacturer. So you know, as as Jeeps says right here, you can get a brand new iPhone SE for $400. You can get an iPhone 11 for $600. You can get the 12 for what, $700 or $800. So when you can get an iPhone for that price, and when the iPhone is competitive with the LG price, when Samsung is providing like buy one get one deals, and they're always kind of just out there. Um, it's just really, yeah. I think that it's it's just unfortunate. I mean, Dom says that LG never got better than the V10. In his humble opinion, that phone with the stainless steel sidebars was, yeah, it was a fantastic phone. I mean, unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that the V10 was one of the phones that got hit with the boot loop issue that bricked the phones. I loved the V10. I thought it was the coolest phone ever. Had that little secondary screen. Like I said, LG was always doing things that were a little bit different than everybody else over the past several years. I mean, really starting with the V30, they started to capitulate and go down the road of doing the same looking like rounded slab phone thing of everybody else, but they still threw in some different stuff. Like, even though they got rid of the secondary screen that used to be up at the top of the V series, they still had all the functionality of that in like a slide over bar, and of course Samsung has the sidebar thing too. Um, and yeah, Dom makes a good point here that the software never, their skin for Android never improved. You know, Motorola, when they came out with those Motorola, what were the ones where you could get different backs and all that kind of stuff, and Motorola kind of really went in for Android, and they came up with the chop motion and the twisty thing that was Motorola got feet. Basically, it was stock Android with a few features that Motorola came up with themselves that was pretty cool. I can't say, yeah, the Moto X. Thank you, Dom. The Moto X. I can't say that there's anything that I can think of right now that that LG brought to Android that made Android cooler, right? That made Android work a little bit better. And their skin overall was a little slow, a little buggy, and just ultimately not very good. The Moto X, I ordered one with like a bamboo back to it. That was really cool. I liked that phone. It was cheap, and you could get it customized. I liked that phone a lot. I was surprised when they kind of went away from that and they went to these Moto Mod, the what was it, the Moto Z Force, whatever. Um, mods. That was the first time that we saw Hasselblad uh, lend their name to a smartphone thing, because they had a Hasselblad camera attachment that was, I think it was $300 that you could slap this thing on the back, and I actually went out and got one and used it for a while, and it was pretty cool. But at the end of the day, you don't want to carry around like giant things that attach to your phone. It was a very thin phone. The Moto Z Force, the first one, is the one that I'm talking about. Um, the Moto Z Force was a very thin phone. It had a small battery in it, but you could get I think it might have come with the battery pack attachment. So the battery pack attachment would be like, an extra 3,000 milliamps of battery or something like that. So Motorola did some cool things. To me, the Moto mods were always kind of doomed to begin with, because Motorola promised that they were gonna support those things for multiple generations, and then when they didn't sell very well, they were kind of stuck. They had to just keep. They made a couple of more versions of the phone. Nobody bought them, and now Motorola. I mean, does Motorola even make a flagship phone now? Um, I'm not sure that they do. I'm not sure that they do, and that's disturbing because they were one of the major players in the smartphone game, and they, yeah, they just they tried the Moto Razr, which I thought was going to be a huge success. I thought the folding screen Razr was going to be a huge success, but it wasn't. So so yeah, at the end of the day, um, we are now in a situation with smartphones where we are going to see we're going to see Apple and Samsung at the top of the heap, and we're going to see Google hang around, but I'm not entirely sure that they with this consolidation that they'll hang around for that much longer. I mean, Google gives up on things all the time. Isn't there an entire website dedicated to all the things that Google gave up on? Um, but yeah, so we've got Google, we've got OnePlus, but OnePlus, I mean, we have to remember, is OnePlus in every carrier store now? Does every carrier have a OnePlus phone? Because I don't think so. Um, and if OnePlus is only like with T-Mobile and Sprint, then I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't know that they're really going to make much of a dent in the U.S. market. I know they're not making much of a dent in the U.S. market. Um, so, so it's yeah, Google Glass is gone, man. It's now Apple. It's now Apple Glass, and Apple will come out with it when it makes sense, and they'll make billions of dollars on it because that's what Apple does. Google like Google half-ass puts something together and then doesn't follow through with it. Somebody wearing it gets beat up in a bar, and then they just leave it go. Jeeps has a good point. Samsung and Apple are kind of the Coke and Pepsi of the smartphone world now. And the funny thing is, I think we're going to see going forward that this is not this does okay, this is no longer like iOS versus Android. This is going to turn into Samsung versus Apple. And I kind of think that the operating systems aren't going to matter as much. Um, I could be wrong, but I think that the operating systems are going to become a secondary thing to what to the Apple and Samsung war. I mean, it just doesn't seem like, I don't know. It could. That's not taking into account the mid tier market, where there are still a lot of players out there that we're not mentioning in the mid tier market. A lot of Chinese companies, and I think ZTE is still in there, and a lot of different companies. Motorola still has some stuff in there. So there are a lot of really decent. There are a lot of really decent companies out there making, $300 and $500 phones that are going to become a lot more attractive to the people who, once Apple and Samsung can just run unchecked, those people will probably run to some of these second tier manufacturers, and it's going to be really interesting to see. Yeah, Stephanie brings up the Apple car prototypes. I did see those. Let me see if I can find them real quick, because they were ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Let's see. Okay, well, I'll just show you this page, with all of these different designs. Like, would you buy an Apple car that just looked like the Magic Mouse with wheels? It looks like the Magic Mouse with wheels. It's ridiculous. And look, here's Tim Cook. He's getting all excited about the Apple car. Here's an Apple car that looks sporty, and here's another one that looks like a mouse. I mean, this one kind of looks like a cross between the Cybertruck and a mouse. Look at this one. It's the iCar Air. Who's going to buy that car? Oh my! I don't even know what to think about. I'm still not 100% sold on the fact that Apple is going to. I'm not sold that Apple's going to make a car. Now, this is a car that actually exists. This car actually exists. It is not an Apple car, but yeah, I like wheels sold separately. I mean, maybe they'll supply you with like really crappy wheels, but then if you want the good wheels that won't fall apart, then then you have to pay extra. I mean, yeah, Thomas has got a good point. Hopefully, they don't charge the mouse looking car like they charge the mouse, because that would be, how would you? I mean, you'd have to have a jack inside of your house, right? So, um, well, Jermaine, we can't say that people bought the Tesla that so the Cybertruck. Okay, I love the design of the Cybertruck. I want a Cybertruck. When the Cybertruck was announced, uh, Tesla was like, you can like put a reservation down for a Cybertruck, by going to this website and putting down $100. So a lot of people went and put down $100. I think Zach put down $100. I know a lot of tech YouTubers put down $100 because it's $100 and it's fully refundable. So what's the big deal? I didn't do it because $100 is $100. But I heard yesterday, like, since I bought a new truck, whenever I buy a new vehicle, I like to watch like all the videos I can find on the vehicle. So I've been watching videos, and I found this guy, Scotty Kilmer, Kilmer. He's this older dude. I mean, he might be my age. I don't know. But he seems like an older dude than me. And he screams all the time, and he's kind of kooky. And he's, like a lifelong mechanic. Anyway, he found something that said that they had pre-sold, or they had reservations for over 500,000 Cybertrucks. 500,000 Cybertruck reservations. That's what they had. That is crazy, because if you if you do the math on that, and I'm not a great mathematician, but if you add 2 zeros to 500,000, that's like what? is that 50 million or 5 million? Like I say, I'm terrible. I can't see the number of zeros, so I can't. But that's a lot of money that they just like. They were building capital. Clearly, they did that just so that they could build capital and they could go to the stockholders and they could say, we have this much cash on hand because, yeah. I don't know if the Apple Cart will still have the lightning cable. Wouldn't it be funny if you just had a giant lightning cable that like you plugged into the wall in your garage and then you like carted it out and plugged in? Yeah. Yeah, Jose, Tesla has a Cybertruck fan club website. I mean, it's not Tesla's site; it's somebody else's site. Which is funny because the Tesla doesn't exist, or the Cybertruck doesn't exist yet. And so yeah, they said they had some numbers that said that the Cybertruck had had like been reserved for over 500,000 units. That is crazy. They're never gonna imagine how long it would take Tesla to make 500,000 Cybertrucks. I mean, let alone the fact that it hasn't been road tested, it hasn't passed any kind of inspections, it hasn't, all of those kinds of things. So the Cybertruck is if I buy a Tesla, it will probably be the Cybertruck. But yeah, I don't know if I see Apple making a car. I just don't see it because Apple doesn't seem like the company. I mean, they make accessories. I mean, well, their computers are not accessories, but when it comes to lifestyle related stuff, they don't make like the big things. They make the things that accentuate the things. So Apple going into the business of making cars, yeah, I just don't see it. And that's Stephanie's got a good question. How many people who put down $100 would go through with buying the Cybertruck? I would guess 1/3 or less, which is still a decent number. But we don't know what the Cybertruck is going to cost. I mean, if the Cybertruck is like $60,000 or $70,000, I mean, or even like some of those things can be like 80, 90, over $100,000. I read an article. Jeffrey Dean Morgan ate. This was literally the story. Jeffrey Dean Morgan ate one too many CBD gummies on one Saturday night and went to Tesla's website and designed his like dream Tesla. And he designed his dream Tesla and got out his credit card and ordered it. And it was something like $130,000 Tesla. And the next morning he realized what he'd done and he called Tesla and like kind of explained, and they like canceled the order with a little bit of a penalty or whatever, but still they canceled the order. Can you imagine like being stoned enough to go order a Tesla that costs over $100,000? I mean, I can't even imagine a credit card that could withstand that kind of. Well, I mean, I wonder what the down payment on that would be, or do you just have to pay like a basic fee initially once it gets up to that to that price? I'm not sure. Electric Hummer. That sounds dirty, man. I don't want to talk about that. Sorry. Samsung car that you connect through Bixby. That would be good. That would, yeah. A lot of people. So Dom says there were a slew of people who bought the Model 3 and Y just for vanity purposes, sold them quickly for a profit after they got their likes on social media. Cybertruck will be worse. Yeah, I imagine so. I mean, that seems to be the way that things are going these days. With we had the console releases this past winter, where I mean, I still can't get a PS5. I've been trying forever. I still can't, and so we have still the scalpers who are charging twice what the PS5 is worth, et cetera, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's unfortunate that that's the way it's going. But yeah, what makes me more mad about that than anything else is that there are people who have enough money to do that. And instead of like doing something that would help the world, um, they they bought a car so they could like get some likes on social media and some hearts on Instagram, and then ditch the car. I mean, I don't know. I guess people are allowed to do whatever they want to with their money. And yeah, Jay's right. We've got consoles that you can't get. We got PC parts that you can't get. We got shoes and clothes that you can't get. Now, one thing that I found out recently because I was shopping for a new audio interface, I guess there was a fire. I think it was in November at a chip factory in China. And this fire just totally decimated this chip factory. And I guess it has to be rebuilt or something. So a lot of companies, not only are they facing the difficulty of like the slowdown in production because of COVID and having to ramp back up to speed, now they can't get the parts that they need. Universal Audio, a company that sells audio interfaces, they recently put out what they're calling the Heritage Edition of their interfaces, and charging an extra like $200 to $400 for the interface and giving you extra like software. But most people, if you've been in the Universal Audio ecosystem, most people have that software, and it's kind of pissing them off. But I guess that's one way that they're trying to control their stock, because they can't. I heard that they're going to have to like make a new chip that they can get someplace else. So I don't know. My favorite game of 2020 was I have to say that my favorite game of 2020 was Last of Us Part 2. As controversial as I know it was, the thing about those Last of Us games is the stories are so well put together. You just get into the characters so much that I just really enjoy those games. I'm very much looking forward to the TV series, although the choices for the actors to play the characters of Joel and Ellie are a little bit odd to me. I love Pedro Pascal, except for Wonder Woman 1984, which was. Can we all agree that Wonder Woman 1984 slid in at the tail end of 2020 and won Worst Movie of the Year award? Yeah, because that movie was awful. That movie was everything that the first movie wasn't. Anyway, so yeah, Last of Us is definitely my favorite game of last year. I was so much looking forward to Cyberpunk 2077. I was psyched. I really wanted to play that game. Ever since they announced it, I was like, this is going to be cool. I've always wanted to play a game that was kind of in that cyberpunk William Gibson kind of like world. And unfortunately, cyber I don't even I'm not even going to buy it. I'm not even going to buy it. It was just bad. Yeah. Is the cryptocurrency still like, because I know that cryptocurrency was destroying the graphics card department like a couple of years ago when cryptocurrency first became a thing. People were buying graphics cards and like crypto farming, and that caused a shortage. But I kind of thought when the 30 series cards from NVIDIA came out, I thought that the problem was they just didn't make any of them. But I didn't even bother, like, because I didn't try and pre-order a 30 series card or anything like that, and nobody was giving me one. So, but yeah, I guess now that crypto is back, moving. I don't know. There are a lot of people that have like sort of gotten really interested in the stock market in the past few months. and have like made a lot of money on Tesla, then lost a lot of money. Then they invest in crypto, and then they then they then they invest in GameStop. Like, I can't. Why was GameStop the stock that everybody that blew up? I don't understand, because GameStop has to be like a totally dying thing, unless there's something I don't understand. I haven't watched Godzilla versus King Kong yet. We're gonna watch it this evening, and so yeah, we're gonna watch this evening. I hope, if the family doesn't have anything to do last night. Well, my daughter has piano and voice lesson, so if we have time as the family, we'll watch. Friday is usually our movie night, so I've been. I thought last night we might be able to do it, but then there were family things going on. So I don't. No spoilers. Don't tell me anything about it. I know there are two giant monsters that fight each other. Other than that, I can't imagine. Um, yeah, that's the other thing, Dom, that I didn't quite understand, was the whole, like, that Reddit, that subreddit that, like, I guess manipulated the marketplace, like manipulated the stock market, right? So that's illegal. If you do it, like, if a company does it, that's illegal. So is it illegal for like a subreddit to do it? Wall Street Bets, yeah, that's the one. I There has to be something, because if you can get enough people together to agree to buy something, GameStop or whatever, to manipulate that stock, then then it has to be illegal. But yeah, I mean, they did it for the meme. Is absolutely correct. Like, I don't understand kids these days. It's, but seriously, um, they. Oh, the guy who started it is in legal trouble. That makes sense, because it can't be. It can't. Yeah, it can't be legal whether you're like an incorporated entity or not. It can't be legal to manipulate the stock market. But yeah, a lot of people, a lot of tech YouTubers are now like kind of digging into the stock market thing too. I think John Rettinger just launched a business YouTube channel, and so I don't. I mean, maybe I should pay attention, because I've never invested. I've never bought a stock. I don't think. I think me and my wife, like, had my father-in-law had started like an investment club for the family. This was back in the '90s, I think, and so we gave him like $100 a month or something to do that. But I don't really know anything about buying stocks. I didn't come from a background where buying stocks was the thing that you did. So it kind of freaks me out. So I said that on Twitter, and I might not have said it in the most kindest of ways, but I said that on Twitter because a lot of people were just like, every day I'd go through Twitter and people were putting up like, "Oh, I just made, $30,000 yesterday," or something like that. And to me, it seemed like kind of gauche, kind of untoward to put, how much money you were making on a social media platform. But I guess a lot of those people felt like they were helping people. So I thought, well, maybe I'll take $500 and I'll put it into some of this stuff. But then, like, within a few days, within a few days, within a few days, like, Tesla had tanked, or something like that, or this Wall Street Bets thing started to implode. So I wasn't able to do it. Hugo says that he's in legal trouble because he pretended to be just an average guy and was in fact a finance professional. Okay. I mean, that's not to say that a finance professional can't be an average guy, but it's not likely. And Lee's got a point. The stock market is the stock market is, I don't know. Well, rigged is maybe a strong word, but the stock market does favor people with money. And it's kind of like one of those things where if you can do if you can do it, then it can be very beneficial to you, and you can improve your position. And it's always been an opportunity out there, and the idea is that the stock market is an opportunity for the middle class to be able to at least ensure their future once their working days are over. I mean, that's the whole 401k thing. But now, as Michael says, the stock market seems like it's just like another like Vegas East, you know? Um, and that's and he's right. Learn money management, gambling at blackjack, and then get a broker for Wall Street. Um, if you play cards or any kind of game of chance like that seriously, and there are ways. I have friends who are professional poker players, and they don't make like millions of dollars, but they make enough money that they play poker like 2 nights a week, and they pay their bills, and the rest of their time is free because they either have a really well. You have to have a really good mind for the math of a game like poker, but then you also learn the probabilities of things, and you do the things that are necessary. You know, you're not playing the people, you're playing the cards. And so I know a lot of people who make money playing cards, and the stock market is really no different. And if I knew anything about it, I might be interested in it. But I, you know, right now I'm just kind of afraid. I I guess I'm not afraid, because like if I would never put in money that I couldn't afford to lose, right? I mean, that's the thing with gambling, that's the thing with the stock market, that's the thing with anything. Like never wager any money that you can't afford to lose. Like if you're not going to be able to pay the mortgage that month because you put it on Tesla and Tesla tanked, then you're not doing it right. Um, but it seems like, and so Lee, this is interesting. So Lee says that he trades and teaches futures trading, and it's rigged. Yeah, and I get that. But I mean, how does a person who hasn't invested in the market um, put themselves in a position to get into the stock market? I mean, or it still seems like there are a lot of people who had very little experience in the stock market beforehand, who are now spending who are now making a boatload of money, like tripled and quadrupled their money, you know sometimes day over day. So like, how does a person who just wants to, you know I guess, judiciously invest their money and see some returns, how does an average person get into that? Education. So yeah, and that totally makes sense. That totally makes sense. But I mean, there's all kinds of stuff out there. You've got everyone from that Jim Cramer guy to textbooks that you can learn from. But what are the best sources? Or do you have to even like first educate yourself about what the best sources are so that you can then, yeah. Most people, most people totally lie about money, drugs, and sex. Um, those are three things that I typically don't talk about very much, but but I see what you mean. It's just really fascinating to me, because that is supposed to see that the stock market is supposed to be one of those places where the educated, judicious investor can improve their position. And so whenever I saw people making money, or at least claiming to be making money hand over fist day after day, then I was just like, this doesn't feel real. This doesn't seem real. And now a lot of them, some of them have totally changed their YouTube channels over to, finance channels. And I, I don't know. That's one of the dangers of the sort of democratization of media is the fact that anybody can start a YouTube channel and say they're a financial, they know stuff about the stock market, right? But at this point, it's like, since there are no gatekeepers, how do you figure out who's actually not talking out of their asshole? You know what I mean? Um, and yeah, Jonathan, I looked at like Robinhood, and I was interested in just like taking this $500 and putting it into Robinhood or something like that. But then Robinhood got caught up in something, either I didn't follow it closely, but it was either connected to the Wall Street Bets thing, or it was something equally as not cool as the Wall Street Bets thing. And yeah, I just kind of was like, you know, uh, yeah, companies. I mean, I don't see. Here's the thing: like, I understand theoretically Bitcoin. I understand theoretically blockchain. I understand theoretically all of those things. But when you talk to me about those things, um, oh, they closed orders without permission. I see. So yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool at all. Because I mean, I remember when it first started, it seemed like a very reasonable way for somebody to get started. And I know there are other apps out there, but Robinhood was the one that seemed to have the most at least profile. The people seem to be using that more often than others. So I know there's other stuff out there. Dom says Robinhood got caught up with the GameStop thing. They stopped people from being able to buy their stock and upset a lot of people. Either way, you allow people to do as they please on your site or not. Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Like, in fact, I pulled a story today that I was interested in, since we're talking about phone companies that do stock related stuff. This article to me is very bizarre. um, this iPhone app lets anybody mint an NFT for anything for free. With the help of some big name musicians, an ex Apple executive has launched a free iOS app called Sing that lets artists quickly mint non fungible tokens. So this I I still don't understand, like, the NFT. I mean, again, it's like I understand to a certain extent, but like when somebody sells a JPEG image of 5,000 photos that they took um, for $69 million, like, the fungibility of something, or the non fungibility, I get. Like, nobody else can make it, but how does it exist? That is my question. Like, if something only exists in the computer, does it really exist? This is like, all of a sudden we're into like philosophical, like deep philosophical questions. Like, does it really exist? Um, and the NFT thing, the first place that I heard about the NFT was that Kings of Leon were releasing their new album, and it was going to be on all the streaming services, and you could buy a physical copy, but you could also buy an NFT, and the NFTs would have like special things that would make them unique, and you can buy them for different. But I just I don't understand. So it says here that musicians, visual artists register for copyrights, prove things are theirs, but doing so is really a little more than a personal witnessing creation associated with a person's name. Um, in the 21st century, creation happens on digital platforms. It happens far faster than ever before. In many ways, inspiration, like a vocal line or a beat, can happen spontaneously during a TikTok duet. A GIF can be created. Okay. Um, Blockchain can also witness a creation and the creator. Um, A new free app called Sing lets pretty much anybody do this in a few seconds by minting an NFT of work on the Ethereum blockchain. An NFT is a type of cryptographic token that signifies true ownership of a digital asset. Okay, so Lee, thanks for being here, man. That makes a little bit more sense, I guess. So I understand copyright. Back in the old days, we used to make demos of our songs, and then we would make a cassette and mail it to the copyright office. So I guess it's starting to make sense, but I don't quite understand the NFT thing. I mean, because theoretically, I said this before, I could make an NFT of the only copy of my first video on YouTube, and then somebody could buy it for whatever. But what do they get? Yeah, I need to do more studying. The last thing I wanted to talk about today was not the Apple Car, but this leaked image of the new Apple TV remote. I mean, you can take this as far as you can throw it. Oh, there's an update to the story that says this appears to be an alternate Apple TV remote that Apple worked with cable companies to make. The remote was designed for cable companies, hence the guide button, etc., etc. Okay. All I can say is, can we all agree that if we are going to see a new Apple TV sometime this year, hopefully sooner than later, can we all agree that the Apple TV remote that came with the Apple TV 4K is garbage, right? It's garbage. The little touchpad is terrible. And so I want a new Apple TV remote. I want it to have buttons. I want those buttons to do specific things. I don't think I'm asking too much. You guys with your pronunciation. Now, when the acronym GIF was first a thing that came into the workplace as a way to work with as a way to work with images and such, it was pronounced GIF, and the dude who who actually created the format called it a GIF. Somewhere along the line, you millennials called it a GIF, and that's all for you. No, Dom, it's really, it is true. I am holding it wrong because there are specific places that if you touch it in the right place, it does a thing. Man, I started with the title of this live stream, and it just keeps going. Look, I can move myself around. Oh, this is great. This is cool. Yeah. I can't move the chat though. I can only move these elements. Switch places. Look at that. I'm learning things about Restream. But yeah, I think that would be a good slogan, Franklin. Tagline for the new remote should be, "This one doesn't suck." The tagline for the old remote, as Dom suggests, should be, "You're holding it wrong." I love the Apple TV, but it's time for something new. The G in GIF is for graphics. I know. But the person who coined the phrase said GIF. And it's it's the English language. We don't have to make it. I mean, there are giraffe. Somebody used giraffe it's the English language. Nothing has to make sense. It just has to work. Khalil's going to die on the GIF hill. When I worked in a graphic design department and it was 1995 and this first became a thing, it was called a GIF. And we called it GIFs, and so I still call it a GIF. I don't care what you young kids call it anyway. Um, yeah, but Jif is a peanut butter. JIF is a peanut butter. So they should make a controller. You're right. You're right, because Apple has like the Apple Arcade thing, right? Yeah, as you say. Um, so they should make a controller. I mean, they have third party controllers, but and you can use like a Steel Series or a PS4, or can you use an Xbox? I'm not sure, but they should make a controller. But I don't know. I don't like to use the controller for my Xbox as a remote control. It's just a little bit too fiddly. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It has to be something better, though. I will say that. And I love my Apple TV, but for some reason, when I use my Apple TV, every once in a while, not all the time, um, but every once in a while, it like when I have it on Dolby Vision, the screen blacks out and then it comes back on. And it seems to be related to Dolby Vision. And I read on the forum that it's like, oh, you got to get the right cable. I got the right cable. It didn't do it for a while. And now it's doing it again. So I don't know. It's making me mad. I just want a new Apple TV that doesn't do that. The truth of the matter is the Apple TV that we have right now is plenty powerful enough to not need to be replaced, but that's not the way the world works. I watched a YouTube video the other day about the oldest light bulb that's been on continuously. It's in a firehouse somewhere. I think it's on the East Coast or something like that. It's been on for like over 1 million hours. um, and basically, light bulbs could be made so that they never burn out, but all of the light bulb manufacturers back in the early 20th century, I think it was, got together and formed a consortium, and consortium, however you want to say it, and they decided that they would all make light bulbs that would last for no longer than 10,000 hours. And if you made a light bulb and you were part of this consortium, if you made a light bulb that lasted for more, then you would get fined by the consortium. Yeah, thinking Fox, it's unfortunate. I mean, Restream is the streaming service and sponsor of these live streams, but I could see that it might be confusing. Like the reason I use this overlay and not the logo, I said this before. The reason I use this overlay and not the logo is because the logo makes it look like it's a replay. So, yeah. Oh, we got podcastage in here. Yeah. HyperX Cloud Flights or HyperX Cloud Flight S. It's been a long time since I used either. I mean, I can't remember what the difference is between the Flight and the Flight S, but I like them both. But it's been a while since I used them. I got a video coming out about a review of the new SteelSeries Arctis 7X and 7P. Those to me right now are well, they're not budget, but they're very much a good buy for new consoles and stuff. I haven't tried any HyperX stuff for a while, but they made really good stuff. Well, that light bulb would never have happened if the EU had been around back then. No, probably not. Probably not. I mean, this consortium of companies was part of there was like Germany and England and the United States, and like all these people got together and they manipulated the market. I haven't reviewed the sound cores, but I have this. I do have the Soundcore Q10s. I have the Q20s. I have the Q30s. They are all stupidly good for their price. The Q10s, which I haven't checked in a while, but they were going for like between $30 and $40. The Q10s have no right to sound as good as they do at $30. And they have 60 hours of battery life. And the Q30s, which were the Q10s were non-noise canceling, the Q20s were noise canceling. The Q20s I think had like half the battery life of the Q10s. The Q30s I think have the same battery life as the Q10s, and they're noise canceling. And would you be able to tell a difference between a Q30 and a Sony WH-1000XM4? Yes. Would it be a $275 difference? No. So yeah, but they're very good. I am gonna do. Uh, oh my god, I got so many videos that I'm supposed to do, and now I've like decided I'm going to do daily live streams as well. I am, if nothing else, a wonderful manager of my time. But no, they are very good. They are very good. I've also got if you're looking for like a really nice high end headphone that's not noise canceling, the Drop THX Panda is really good. Those things are crazy. And if you're looking for a gaming headset that's also a high end set of headphones, the Drop Pandas also have like a microphone attachment to a cable, so you can game, and then you can do the wireless. It's good. But we've come to an hour and 20 minutes, and so I'm going to jump off so I can get some work done this afternoon, and be back tomorrow. Tomorrow it would be Friday morning coffee time. My favorite budget headphones would probably have to be those Q10s that I'm talking about. Although, I mean, it depends on what kind of headphones you're talking about. I think the best bang for the buck headphones, out there in terms of like hi-fi headphones are probably Grottos, like the Grotto SR60 or SR80, are both under $100, and they sound fantastic. So yeah, I can't answer your question the second time, Santos. They're both good. Buy both and send one back. But yeah, Dom, I appreciate your comma usage, but the first comma is correct. The second comma unnecessary for future reference. So favorite budget headphones. The reason there's no comma there is because it's not a series. Favorite budget. Also, they both combine to describe. So anyway, grammar lesson for today. Thanks so much for being here, folks. Once again, remember the sponsor of these podcast or live streams, is the one and only Restream. They have been helping me out, make sure that I stay afloat and do this thing. And so if you got live streaming needs, do check out Restream. Do use the link down in the description below so they know that I sent you. You can get there for free and do it, or you can sign up for their service. But if you use the link, they'll know that I sent you, and then they'll think, oh, this guy's doing work. Anyway, you guys have been awesome. I'll be back tomorrow. Once again, thank you so much. My name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is the Painfully Honest Daily Show, in which I will every day, whether or not my brain is working, come on to the YouTube and every place else, live and in person, to say things about technology and popular culture that I may or may not regret later. Why? You're gonna podcast is just trying to trigger me. I'm done.